one day you realise you want more. You want more freedom, more creativity, and more time and energy for your friends and family. If you could reinvent one part of your life, what would it be? In today's episode, I'm talking to Charlotte Gon, a former performing arts teacher turned lead events coordinator at Nipabout and the founder of Maps and Naps Travel. Charlotte took a huge leap of faith and landed somewhere totally unexpected. She shares how she swapped the classroom for a career that's more creative and completely fulfilling. We talk about leaving behind what's safe, embracing the unknown, and why working with children and animals might just be the secret to joy, or at least a few good stories. We also talk about practical tips for travelling with little ones, how to network without wanting to disappear into the hotel carpet, and what happens when you follow that inner nudge, even when it doesn't quite make sense yet. And about that crocodile, well, you'll just have to listen to the episode. Now this week, I will be thinking a lot about what it really means to take a leap of faith. I've put together some reflective questions inspired by Charlotte's story. Share your reflections in the comments and don't forget to tag the wilderness of creativity. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and look out for this week's Substack newsletter, which is out on Wednesday. Right, let's get to the episode. Okay, so we are recording. We are live. Going live in 5, 4. I thought we could start with the You Got This cards. So I'll give them a little shuffle and you tell me when to stop and I'll just take the top card and see what comes out.
If I've got this.
You definitely have.
Okay, yeah, sure. Stop.
This would be so much easier if you were actually in the same room.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see your hands, so you could not be shuffling at all.
I'm just going like this. Oh no, that looks terribly wrong. Never mind. Which is quite fitting for this card because it's enjoy it, it's happening. Enjoy it, it's happening. If I think back to our conversation over a year ago and you were panicking about what you were going to do with your life, and here we are enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's happened.
It happened.
Tell me what's happened since our last conversation, or at least take the listeners back to that moment when we were stood in my little boy's preschool car park and you had just had enough, basically.
Well, I quit my job. I quit my career of 12 years and didn't know what I was going to do next, but I just knew that I didn't want to do that anymore. So I had a bit of a break and a bit of a research and did a week of temp working and then managed to find something that I was really interested in to apply for, which is where I am now.
I mean, when you're saying it like that, it seems as though it's been a really easy journey to this point, but I know for a fact it has been anything other than that. So for those people who are listening, Charlotte and I met when we were doing our PGCE. We trained as secondary school teachers, drama and performing arts, jazz hands, and that is the career that you're talking about. So, you know, a very stable career, got nice holidays, steady income, you know where you are, what you're doing. But I think it was that routine and not really seeing where the progression was or where the excitement was coming from anymore. Is that right?
Yeah, that was also time. So although I was part-time as a teacher, it didn't feel like I was part-time and it felt like I was losing time with my children. Even though I had half-term and summer holidays, a lot of that time is spent seeing family, seeing friends, going on holiday. And you get the time back then, but you're so tired at that point that it doesn't feel like valuable time. In the evenings, I was rushing through dinner, rushing getting them to bed so that I could get back downstairs and open my laptop again. and do more work. So now I have that time back.
And do you feel like you're just more present?
Yeah. Because I leave work at work, where I couldn't do that before. It wasn't possible, even at the weekend, the summer holidays, half terms. It's not possible to leave work at work as a teacher. But now I can leave work at work. Obviously, I think about it and I see things that I think, oh, I could use that at work. But it's not something I fret over. And it doesn't take my time away. So yeah, I can be more present.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you feel like you have the energy
Yeah.
for your children. And I think, that cannot be underestimated. And there'll be a lot of people, I think, listening to this that will, not necessarily teachers, but who will also feel that way.
Yeah.
And, you have always been incredibly creative. Apart from the fact that you teach drama, performing arts, but you're also involved in shows yourself.
Yep.
You've worked backstage, stage manager, directing, producing. So do you want to talk a little bit about the big projects that you've been involved in and what you enjoy about the arts? Because you haven't completely left it, have you?
So I'm still very much part of the amateur dramatic scene, where I have been previously in pantomime every year. Most recently, I was in a musical theatre concert as a principal dancer and an assistant choreographer. And before that, I was in Sister Act musical. Before that, I was in Little Mermaid, which is probably one of my most favourite parts ever because I was a mermaid. So yeah, massively part of the amateur dramatics. I also am in an ABBA tribute band.
Yeah, this is a new thing. You used to do it, but you've come back to it, haven't you?
So I took a break with the children, and then the lady who runs it contacted me again and asked if I was willing to come back. And obviously I was, because I've missed doing it. It's great. It's really great fun. You're doing loads of different types of venues, and obviously we wear all the ABBA gear, and it's nice to sing professionally. Yeah. And then I teach singing at Theatre Train on a Friday.
And the thing is, what I've noticed about your social media presence as well is that that's kind of the arts, and being involved in that scene has bolstered you. It's given you a community, a group of friends that have carried you and supported you through what has been quite a big transition actually in your life, haven't they?
I've got a few groups of very close friends. All of my best friends I've made through the performing arts, yourself included. So yeah, they're very supportive. They understand. I guess they get me. So it's nice to have that group of people who I can also do my hobby with and go to the theatre with and talk creatively with as well.
I know this is a while ago now, but throughout COVID, you were like the queen of creativity. Every single post that you put up with the children, you were like, I've just handmade these McDonald's cartons, and like you'd made chicken nuggets and fries at home, but you'd presented it in a way that was fun and engaging for the kids. And you've always been a little bit like that, haven't you?
That's what I enjoy. I still get to do that in my job now. I actually had my annual review today, and one of the most positive points was that how creative I am. So,
Yes,
always it's the most fun way to be. With the McDonald's thing, I found a YouTube drive-through that someone had created, so we put it. We put it on the TV, and then we had one of those little cars, and she sat in the car.
Yeah.
And we drove up to the drive-through, ordered the food.
What other things have you done? What other things have you done at home? You've done loads.
Yeah, we did a Harry Potter day where we had like lots of different spells. And I got one of those invisibility cloaks, and we did potion making and things like that, and the potions in the bath, and obviously we watched Harry Potter.
Oh,
We did Princess Day, where she was a princess all day, and we did lots of different activities revolved around that, and I wore my wedding dress so that we could both be princesses together.
yeah. I think you said that was probably one of your best days because you got to wear your wedding dress again, but also she got to see you in the wedding dress and you were having photographs taken
Also,
and
it still fit me then. But she also put it on, so it was cute because I can keep those pictures forever with her in my wedding dress.
it is about making those memories, especially during that particularly difficult time. Because you were secondary and then you went into primary, just to clarify this for the listeners. So a little bit like my sort of journey, started in secondary, I've now moved into primary, but you were teaching all of the subjects. So you were actually a primary classroom teacher, whereas I'm specifically teaching dance and drama. So before we get to your current job at Nipperbout, how did you find the transition from secondary to primary and teaching all of those subjects? Because I distinctively remember that it was something that you enjoyed at the start.
I did enjoy it, and I still enjoyed it at the end, because it challenged me, because I was used to teaching drama and dance, and that's what I knew most, because obviously that's what my degree was in. So having to then go from that to teaching history and RE and geography and maths, it challenged me. I had to brush up on my subject knowledge, and I had to know how to teach subjects that I hadn't taught before. So I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed finding creative ways of teaching it and creative ways of making it interesting. When we did history and we did the Vikings, I created a giant cardboard cutout of a Viking ship, and the children walked into the Viking ship. So it's like getting those hooks and making it exciting and interesting for the children, but also for yourself, because you want to teach the curriculum in an interesting way, in ways that change every year. So yeah, I did enjoy it. It's a big jump. Like, I don't think we give children enough credit sometimes going from year 6 to year 7, because the jump is massive. The difference is massive. Like, being a secondary school teacher, you see maybe those year 7s once a week. And I saw my year 5s every day for a year. You get to know them, and they get to know you. And they go from that familiarity of being with a teacher every day to seeing a teacher once a week. And it's crazy, the difference.
Yeah. And a lot of schools do transition very well. They have programs in place that support their children, move from primary to secondary, but it's often just a token day.
Yeah.
Or, a series of days. Often year 6s are ready to go, but that doesn't make the leap any easier, does it?
No. It's such a different world going from primary to secondary, where you're in one room with one teacher with the same children, to being with loads of teachers in a huge school with loads of different children that you've never met before.
We have to build that resilience and that ability to navigate those changes as we get older. And so when you decided to come out of education in a school setting, how did it feel handing that notice in?
I was terrified and excited all at the same time. It wasn't something I came to quickly. I had thought about it for a couple of years, actually, kind of deciding whether to or whether not to. It's a massive giving up, because I know I could always go back to it, but giving up a career that you've worked on for 12 years is hard, because it becomes who you are as well. when people ask you what you do, oh, I'm a teacher. And now I don't say I'm a teacher. So it's, it becomes your everyday, and then you have to give it all up. And there were lots of things that kept pulling me back to it. Like I say, I did love teaching the different subjects. I loved being with the children in the classroom. I loved the creativity side of it. I loved singing assembly, because I ran singing assembly each week. And those things are the things that kept pulling me back. But eventually I knew that it was time to hand in my notice. And yeah, it was hard. And I handed my notice in and cried immediately.
I was going to say, yeah, because it's the fear, isn't it? The fear of the unknown. You know, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what doors are going to open. And, you know, I remember that moment very distinctively. But I do remember saying to you, something will happen. Something will happen. And, you know, we do have to keep trying to find a way forward, I think. So, you know, if there's anyone listening at the moment who is perhaps stuck in a career or in a job that is just draining them, that's not energizing them, it's not motivating them, it's not inspiring them, you know, what would you say to them?
It took me a while to consider it, but at the end I just knew that I had to take a leap of faith. So that's what I did, and fortunately it's paid off. But as you say, keep moving forward, because something will come about. And I guess sometimes you can feel that it won't, but it will.
We live our lives by the school calendar. Every September comes round and I remember you saying to me, I can't do
I
another
can't do
September.
another September.
And so, you know, really sitting down and thinking about, right, what do I want my life to look like? Do I want to live more creatively? Do I want more creative balance? Do I want to explore other avenues? Because we are so much more than what we think we are. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about Nip About?
So Nip About is a wonderful company who they create essentially events within events. So it's we're considered event childcare. So we put on events within larger events just for the children. So we work with quite big clients who put on large conferences or festivals, and they need to have childcare for when their parents need to either be talking at these conferences or attending the conferences or talking at the festivals. They provide childcare for that. So then we are that childcare. And it comes in lots of different shapes and sizes. We have very large events that tend to happen at Easter time, to events where we only have maybe 5 children. So it completely depends on what the client wants and how large the event is. The larger events are, they could be 4 or 5 days long, and we do things like we had science activities. So we had people coming in doing potions with them. We had pottery. We've had DJs. We've had child yoga. And then we do a Christmas event every year, which is also incredible, where we have lots of different things. This year just gone, we had a crocodile.
A real crocodile?
A real crocodile.
Oh!
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to say a real crocodile. And where did that crocodile live in the event?
He had a cage.
Okay.
So I had to, one of my first jobs when I got the job was to source a crocodile for a Christmas event. And I was like, yeah, this is the job for me. So the guy, the handler, should we say, came with a crocodile, a
crocodile
very,
guy.
very large snake. Yeah, the crocodile guy came with a crocodile, a very large snake, some lizards,
Oh.
and yeah, just an array of different things. And he set up at the event, and the children were able to come and see the crocodile and hold the snake and hold a lizard and have that experience at their Christmas party.
Wow.
Lots of exciting things.
I mean, when you kind of think about work, you don't tend to imagine crocodile handling.
Crocodile.
So it's a far step away from teaching year 5, and you do a lot of travel as well, don't you? Highlights. What have been the big highlights so far since you've worked for them?
That Christmas party was a highlight. We did an event in Harrogate, and so that was a beautiful place I'd never been to before, and I got to go and stay there, and it went waterfall hunting before the event started, which was nice. Meeting all of the people that work at our event as well as come to our event. We have a group of incredible childcare workers who we call Purple People. And there are regulars who go to all of the events and work at the events. And they're brilliant. So getting to know them. And networking events. I've been on quite a few networking events now, which obviously was not a thing when I was a teacher.
Yeah. So how's that going?
So that's brilliant. We went the other day, and it was a few weeks ago now, but we went for afternoon tea, which was lovely with women in enterprise. And I went to a bake-off networking event as well, where we had to make a cake, and it was very similar to the bake-off tent in London, which was also brilliant. And it's just nice to meet people who are in the same industry as you and get talking to people, because I've only ever worked as a teacher, so it's nice to meet people in different walks of life and doing a similar job to you. It's nice.
And what have you learned about yourself when you're going to these networking events? Because I know you perform, but that's very different to being on the ground and chatting to somebody that you've met at an event. It's a very different energy. What have you learned about the way that you show up in those spaces and places?
I don't know. At first, it's I guess it's a bit scary because you have to just go and talk to people you've never met before. But everybody is there to do the same thing as you. Everyone is there to network and to talk to people. So you kind of have to get over that hurdle of, I'm just going to talk to a stranger now. And yeah, so that was a bit of a learning curve, I guess, trying to figure out how I'm going to approach someone I've never met before and talk to them about what they do as a career, and talk to them about what I do as well. But then being a performer, I guess I have a bit more confidence in order to be able to hold my own and talk to people at networking events.
Do you lead with, I was a teacher, or do you lead with, I work for Nip About and this is what I do?
Being a teacher does come into it sometimes, because they ask, how long have I been there for? And what did I do before? And then obviously teaching comes into it, and they're very interested to know, like, how I went from teaching to this.
Because as you know, my other half worked as a teacher as well, 15 years, and now works in industry. And his colleagues really respect the fact that he was a teacher for that long. And the skill set that he has is so nuanced that they absolutely call on him for all sorts of different things because they just don't have that skill set in their teams. Do you find the same?
Yeah, so I was talking to a lady who runs a charity, and she said that most of her team are ex-teachers because they tend to employ people that were teachers because of the skill set that they provide. And I found that really interesting. Yeah, I guess as teachers, we may not think that we have anything to offer. We have so many transferable skills.
And I think, especially with art subjects and working behind the scenes as a stage manager, as a director, choreographer, you do have the ability to visualize a project, to visualize the resources that you might need, your ability to collaborate and bring people together
Yeah.
is quite special, I think, because we're always doing that in education.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever I look at your socials, you're like, I'm going out for a walk for my lunch, or I'm going to be patting this beautiful little dog here by
Yeah.
my desk.
We work in the most beautiful area. It's lovely.
I was going to say, like, there's more to this job than it just being a change of career, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have office dogs, which I love. And then, yeah, just the surroundings and the people that I work with has made it I don't know, it's relaxing. Although sometimes there's high pressure, when events need to go out, it's comfortable and it's relaxing and it's a lovely surrounding and I work with very understanding people as well. They're all lovely.
And have your friends and family noticed a change in you, in your energy levels, in your outlook?
I think they've noticed that I'm happier. I think everyone has noticed that I'm happier in myself. So that
Do you feel happier?
yes, definitely. Yeah.
Because I think, from watching you from over a year ago to now, like there's been a real revamp, I would say, as well, of the way that you dress, the way that you present yourself, the way that you've got, your identity, I feel, is finally starting to come through, and it's almost like the weight of being the educator was almost squashing your creativity in some way, the way that you presented yourself, would you say?
Well, the first thing I did when I got my new job was dye my hair pink because I've always wanted pink hair. And so it's not pink now. But I've always wanted pink hair and it just wasn't a possibility as a teacher. I did it temporarily a lot. So if it was Christmas or summer holidays, I'd have pink hair. But I wanted proper permanent pink hair. So that was the first thing I did. And then, as you say, I've got 4 more tattoos in the space of a year. Because again, as an educator, you have to present a certain front. And I know that some schools are a lot more lenient than others. But I just feel more comfortable in my skin and I'm able to have pink hair and I'm able to have tattoos and still do my job and wear what I want.
Wear what you want. And I think there is something to be challenged there about how we force people into looking a certain way or acting a certain way in these professions.
I was having this conversation yesterday actually because I was saying that there are schools. So my friend's child goes to a school where she has to wear certain colour socks, certain shoes, no ear piercings at all, not even studs, like nothing in their ears. So if they've just got their ears pierced, they want their ears pierced for their birthday. They can't because they would have to take them out straight away. They're not allowed to wear them. So some schools are more lenient. My daughter's is. But it takes away that creativity. They have to wear their hair a certain way. They're not allowed to wear any other colour hair scrunchie than a certain colour. We don't have that in the workplace anymore. It's just not a thing. My husband does not wear a suit to work. He wears jeans and a t-shirt. I wear leggings and a hoodie. I'm only wearing a dress today because it was sunny. But people tend to be more comfortable unless they're going to something that's specifically like corporate or a meeting or something or conference, something where they need to be a bit smarter. It's a lot more lenient in the workplace now. So I don't feel that having such strict rules on uniform is needed.
When you now look ahead, what does life look like?
Well, it's interesting that you said about the 5-year thing earlier, because that was one of the things where I knew that it was time for me to hand my notice in, because I had a meeting and they asked me what my 5-year plan was. And I realized that my 5-year plan didn't really involve teaching. So now it's nice to be in a meeting and think of a 5-year plan and think, yeah, this is where I want to be now. So I don't know exactly what it looks like. I am very much going with what I am enjoying doing. And right now, this is what I am really enjoying doing, and that this is what I want to build upon.
Talk to me about Maps and Naps, because this is something that you've recently set up. What was the impetus to start Maps and Naps?
So other than performing arts, my other love is traveling. I just love seeing the world. Anywhere. I don't care where we're going. Yeah. I just want to see as much of the world as possible. So, if there's an option to go somewhere, I'm gone. So, and we've been to quite a few places since lockdown lifted. I was like, right, let's go. So I've kind of got a catalogue of quite a lot of different places that we've gone to, starting with Australia. I've been to Morocco twice. We've been to Turkey. We've been to Spain. We've been to York. We've been to Edinburgh. Like, I get to share my love of travel and follow other travel pages as well, and kind of create a community of families that see the world and get some ideas and show them to Tim.
And go, this is where we're going next.
This is where we're going. Yeah, and as you know, I'm an avid sharer of my life. So
I know it's not all great all the time, of course not. But actually, welcoming us into moments that you have with your family, with your friends, in your work, is really special. And it is nice that you're sharing hacks that you've learned along the way, because I think there are a lot of families that maybe put off going travelling because they're worried about how they're going to entertain the children. I mean, we haven't done it yet, and I'll be calling on you for some hacks.
Yeah, I've met quite a few people that are similar. They don't want to go abroad yet, or they wait until their children are much older to go abroad. But I want to see these places, and I want to see them see these places. When, right, obviously Disneyland was a massive thing, but things like Gibraltar, where Arlo could walk up to a monkey, like that experience you don't get down the road.
Well, unless you work for Nipabout. I mean, he could walk right up to a crocodile. Hello, Lucy here. I do hope you enjoyed today's episode with Charlotte. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody who has downloaded the show over the last few weeks. The numbers are going up, and honestly, it means the world. It's amazing to see how many people are tuning in and sharing the show and joining the community, and it really does keep me going and reminds me why I'm doing it. Just a few quick shout outs to some of you lovely listeners out there. Sophie, in between moving house, still found time to download the show. Thank you. Louisa Allen, thank you for signposting me to the October Challenge. And Wild and Free by the Sea, I'm hoping we do get to record your episode, but I'm sending you lots of love. And a big thank you to Stacey. I am so excited for our little collaboration coming up next month. So listeners, watch this space. Until next time, stay wild.